There's a house in the desert where the shadows roam, a place lost to memory, no one calls it home. Lanterns burn with whispers, floors creak beneath the weight of those who wagered everything and sealed their ghostly fate. A cowboy steps inside, his boots heavy on the floor. The air is thick with silence, like the calm before a war. Take your seat, the dealer says the cards will show your way, but know this game you're playing might take more than you can pay. The house of shadows, where the stakes run deep, where the restless gather and no one dares to sleep. A table carved from sorrow, a deck of fateful sins, in the house of shadows where no one ever wins. Cards fall one by one, revealing pain untold. The stories of the damned, with hearts as dark as coal. The cowboy's hand grows heavy, his breath a shallow sigh. For every card he plays, another spirit cries. The room grows dim and colder, the walls begin to fade. The faces of the players blur like ghosts in a parade. The cowboy grips his hat brim, his fate within his hand, in the house of shadows where the devil makes his stand. The house of shadows, where the stakes run deep, where the restless gather, no one dares to sleep. A table carved from sorrow, a deck of fateful sins, in the house of shadows where no one ever wins. The gambler sat in shadow, his eyes fixed on the deal. A hand of fate before him, a wager he could feel. Aces black and eights so dark, the cards they sealed his name. The dead man's hand had found him, and nothing feels the same. He felt the room grow colder as whispers filled the air. The faces at the table were ghosts beyond compare. Each one had held the hand before, each one had met their end. And now the cursed card stared at him like an old and bitter friend. The dead man's hand, aces and eights, a gambler's curse, a twist of fate. No prayers can save, no gold can buy the dead man's hand. We'll see you die. He thought of all the games he'd won, the lives he'd left behind, the deals he'd made, the lies he'd told, the way he'd crossed the line. But no amount of cunning could stop what lay in store. The dead man's hand was waiting, and knocking at the door. The lantern flickered softly, the shadows grew so near. The gambler clutched his final breath, consumed by mortal fear. The dealer's voice rang clear and sharp, your fate is in the cards. The dead man's hand will take its toll, no matter who you are. The dead man's hand, aces and eights, a gambler's curse, a twist of fate. No prayers can save, no gold can buy. The dead man's hand will see you die. The dead man's hand will see you die. No matter who you are, the dead man's hand, aces and eights, a gambler's curse, a twist of fate. No prayers can save, no gold can buy. The dead man's hand will see you die.
Sat alone in silence, a pistol in her hand. Her husband's blood still calling, spilled upon the land. The cards lay on the table, the dealer cold as stone. She whispered, bring him back to me or I'll face you on my own. The dealer's grin grew wider, his voice a ghostly drawl. He said, I'll give you vengeance, but the price might take it all. Bet your soul upon the pot, the cards will choose your fate. And when the hand is over, we'll settle at the gate. The widow's bet, a deal with death, to lay her grief and pain to rest. But the cards don't lie, and the stakes run deep. The widow's bet is hers to keep. The first card showed a shadow, the second bore a crown. The third revealed a bloody knife, the fourth a man cast down. Her tears fell hard upon the deck, her voice began to crack. For every card I play tonight, I'll bring another back. The room began to shudder. The shadows closed in tight. The widow saw the faces of the men who took her life. Her pistol fired with fury, each bullet found its mark. But vengeance comes with shadows that will tear your soul apart. The widow's bet a deal with death to lay her grief and pain to rest. But the cards don't lie and the stakes run deep. The widow's bet is hers to keep. A deal with death to lay her grief and pain to rest. But the cards don't lie and the stakes run deep. The widow's bet is hers to keep. The widow's bet a deal with death to lay her grief and pain to rest. But the cards don't lie and the stakes run deep. The widow's bet is hers to keep. The room began to shudder. The shadows closed in tight. The widow saw the faces of the men who took her life. Her pistol fired with fury, each bullet found its mark. But vengeance comes with shadows that will tear your soul apart.
The desert wind was howling, the stars refused to shine. I stumbled through the darkness to a place outside of time. A lantern's glow was burning, a figure stood in black. He said, I've been expecting you, there's no turning back. Make a deal with the devil, he'll give you what you crave. But the price you pay's eternal, it follows to the grave. Golden power, love or land, whatever you desire. Just know the devil's deal is forged in everlasting fire. He laid a deck before me, each card ablaze in flame. The faces showed my history, the sins that bore my name. You've lived a life of hunger for riches and renown, but every step you've taken leads you closer to the ground. Make a deal with the devil, he'll give you what you crave. But the price you pay's eternal, it follows to the grave. Golden power, love or land, whatever you desire. Just know the devil's deal is forged in everlasting fire. The room began to shimmer, the walls dissolved to smoke. The air grew thick and heavy as the devil's laughter spoke. You've signed your name already, there's no escape for you. Now place your bet and play your hand, the devil's watching too. I saw the lives I ruined, the choices I had made, the faces of the fallen, that haunt the cards I play. My hands began to tremble, the cards fell to the floor. The devil grinned and whispered, "You'll be mine forevermore." Make a deal with the devil, he'll give you what you crave, but the price you pay's eternal, it follows to the grave. Golden power, love, or land, whatever you desire, just know the devil's deal is forged in everlasting fire.
He came in on the north wind, his boots as cold as stone. A shadow draped in justice, a name the dead had known. A badge burned on his chest plate, his Spurs sang like a hymn. The spectral Marshal's vengeance rode the storm to punish sin. Run, gambler, run, there's no place to hide. The Marshal's on your trail, he's the justice of the night. With chains of fire and fury, he'll drag you to your fate. The Marshal's vengeance rides beyond the grave. He stepped into the poker room, his eyes a blazing fire. The dealer froze mid-shuffle as the Marshal's wrath grew dire. You've dealt your cards to sinners and bound their souls in chains, but now I've come to even scores, you'll answer for their pain. Run, dealer, run, there's no place to hide. The Marshal's on your trail, he's the justice of the night. With chains of fire and fury, he'll drag you to your fate. The Marshal's vengeance rides beyond the grave. The room was filled with lightning, the walls began to shake. The ghosts of all the gamblers tried, oh, make no mistake. The Marshal prelate Sixka, the Neville's smile blur wide. A justice is eternal, and their stone paved aside. The cards fell to the table, the Beamer's voice grew weak. The Marshal said, "Your reign is done, redemption's what I seek." The sharks rang out like thunder, the flames began to rise. The Marshal stuck their siren as the devil met the mice. When center wrong, there's no place to hide. The Marshal's but his duty, now the day can rest tonight. With chains of fire and fury, he's dragging to their fate. The Marshal's vengeance rides beyond the grave. The storm began to sail, the poker grew still. The Marshal tipped his hat and vanished o'er the hill. The legend leaves a whisper, the warning called in stone. Justice rides forever, and you'll reap when you have sown.
A stranger in the corner his shadow stretched like night. A phantom at the table with eyes that burned like light. The cards lay in his fingers, the stakes were life and soul. He played the devil's gambit, and his eyes betrayed his goal. The phantom's gambit, a dance with death, each card a wager, each draw a breath. The devil smirks, the stakes run deep, but the phantom plays for what he'll keep. The room was filled with whispers, the air was thick with dread. The phantom played his hand in silence, his fate hung by a thread. The devil watched with hunger, his claws tapped on the wood. Your luck is running thinner, boy, fold while you still could. The phantom's gambit, a dance with death, each card a wager, each draw a breath. The devil smirks, the stakes run deep, but the phantom plays for what he'll keep. The cards were laid one by one, each telling of his past. The sins, the lies, the broken ties, the shadows he'd amassed. But then he played the ace of hearts, a card no one could see. And with a grin he whispered, "This game belongs to me." The devil's eyes grew colder, his grin turned sharp and thin. "You've beaten me this round," he said, "but I always win." The phantom tipped his hat brim, his voice was low and sly. "Then deal the cards again, my friend, this night won't see me die." The phantom's gambit, a dance with death, each card a wager, each draw a breath. The devil snarls, his rage runs deep, but the phantom's soul he didn't keep. The stranger left the table, his boots as soft as air. The devil shuffled cards again, his laughter filled the lair. The phantom's tale is whispered, where gamblers fear to tread. For even if you beat the house, you're never truly ahead.
We are the ones forgotten, left to haunt this hollow place. Bound by cards and broken dreams, we've vanished without a trace. The lanterns flicker dimly, their light is cold as stone. And though we sit together here, we're all forever alone. Oh, hear the shadows lament, the cry of those who've lost, trapped between the living and the deal that sealed their cost.
We gamble with our freedom, but freedom's not defined. For every bet we make here keeps us tethered, cursed, confined. We've played our hands for lifetimes. The dealer knows our names. He smiles as he deals the cards. The devil loves these games. We see the faces of the ones we've loved and left behind. But every time we call their names, they vanish from our minds. Oh, hear the shadows lament, the cry of those who've lost, trapped between the living and the deal that sealed their cost. We gamble with our freedom, but freedom's not defined. For every bet we make here keeps us tethered, cursed, confined. The walls bleed out our sorrow, the floorboards creak with pain. The cards we hold are heavy with the weight of our disdain. We'd give the world to leave here, but the devil's got his claws. We're ghosts who sing in silence, forever bound by laws. So if you wander near here and you hear our whispered song, turn back before the shadows pull your weary soul along. This house is built on sorrow, its timbers soaked in tears, and those who sit within its walls stay trapped for endless years. Oh, hear the shadows lament, the cry of those who've lost, trapped between the living and the deal that sealed their cost. We gamble with our freedom, but freedom's not defined. For every bet we make here keeps us tethered, cursed, confined. I sat beneath the lantern's glow, the cards spread in my hand. A lifetime's worth of choices lay beneath the devil's brand. The faces staring back at me, the ghosts of all I've done. They whisper in the silence, boy, you're not the only one. Fate's last card, it's calling my name. Aces and kings, it's a deadly game. No prayers can change it, no luck can hide. When fate's last card falls, it decides. I've stolen gold, I've broken hearts, I've lied to stay alive. I've run from men with badges, left them bleeding where they lie. But now the hands of time stand still, the dealer's voice rings true. There's no escaping judgment, it's time to pay your due. Fate's last card, it's calling my name. Aces and kings, it's a deadly game. No prayers can change it, no luck can hide. When fate's last card falls, it decides. The lantern flickered softly, the shadows pressed in tight. The cards fell slow like hammers, each one a part of my life. I saw the queen of sorrow, the jack of broken ties. The ace of death stared back at me, its hollow, sunken eyes. I laid my final card down, my heart began to pound. The devil grinned and tipped his hat, well played, but here's the sound. The sound of chains and footsteps, the weight of all my sins. And though I played my last card strong, the house still always wins. fate's last card, it's calling my name. Aces and kings, it's a deadly game. No prayers can change it, no luck can hide. When fate's last card falls, it decides. The cards are cleared, the tables bare, the echoes slowly fade. A lesson carved in fire for the reckless hands we've played. The house of shadows watches, its silence cold and hard. And every gambler learns too late the weight of fate's last card. His hands move like shadows, his voice a velvet draw. He shuffles cards with purpose and deals them to us all. A hat that hides his eyes, but you can feel his gaze. The dealer knows your secrets, and he smiles as if amazed. The dealer's smile, it cuts like a knife. It tempts you with fortune, but it'll cost your life. His laughter echoes softly, his eyes burn like the coals. The dealer's smile will steal your soul. He talks in quiet riddles, his words a wicked game. He'll lure you into playing, though you'll never win the same. You've got the guts to gamble, I see it in your face. Now lay your soul upon the line, let's see if you've got grace. The dealer's smile, it cuts like a knife. It tempts you with fortune, but it'll cost your life. His laughter echoes softly, his eyes burn like the coals. The dealer's smile will steal your soul. The cards he deals are ancient, the tables lined with bone. The shadows stretch and shimmer as he claims you for his own. He says it's just a game, friend, no need to feel alarmed. But every time I win, I leave another soul disarmed. The players sit in silence, their faces pale and drawn. The dealer hums a quiet tune, a never-ending song. He leans across the table, his grin a razor's gleam. You see, my friends, I don't just deal, I own the in-between. The dealer's smile, it cuts like a knife. It tempts you with fortune, but it'll cost your life. His laughter echoes softly, his eyes burn like the coals. The dealer's smile will steal your soul. They sit in silent shadows, their faces pale and wan, bound to the cards forever where the sun will never dawn. Their whispers fill the silence, their sorrow chills the air. The ghosts of the table tell their tales of lost despair. We are the ghosts of the table, lost to time and sin, forever trapped in shadows where the light won't let us in. Our stories fade like echoes, our names are just a sigh. We are the ghosts of the table where the living come to die. A rancher bet his family, their home and all their land. The devil dealt a losing hand, and now he cannot stand. A soldier played for honor, his courage strong but vain. Now he marches through the endless night, bound to a chain of pain. We are the ghosts of the table, lost to time and sin, forever trapped in shadows where the light won't let us in. Our stories fade like echoes, our names are just a sigh. We are the ghosts of the table where the living come to die. A preacher sought redemption, a gambler sought a throne, but every hand they wagered left them colder and alone. The cards hold all our stories, the sins we can't atone, and every time the deck is shuffled, another soul's unknown. So if you find this table and you hear our mournful song, turn back before your fate is sealed, before your soul belongs. The dealer smiles with malice, his hands both swift and cruel, and those who join our numbers learn the devil plays the fool. We are the ghosts of the table, lost to time and sin, forever trapped in shadows where the light won't let us in. Our stories fade like echoes, our names are just a sigh. We are the ghosts of the table where the living come to die. There's a room in the desert where the clocks have ceased to chime, a hollow place of whispers, untouched by death or time. The walls are lined with sorrow, the floors with dust and bone, and every tale that's told there is a story carved in stone. The room that time forgot, where shadows linger still, a place of cursed memories, a house of iron will. The cards are always waiting, the bet's forever made, in the room that time forgot, where the devil's debts are paid. They say it rose from nothing when the devil made his deal, a table carved from sorrow, a deck that couldn't heal. The first to sit within it were gamblers chasing fame, but every hand that touched those cards was never seen again. The room that time forgot, where shadows linger still, a place of cursed memories, a house of iron will. The cards are always waiting, the bet's forever made, in the room that time forgot, where the devil's debts are paid. The lantern light is fleeting, the windows show no stars, the voices of the players echo faintly from afar. Each card that's played is heavy, it bears a life untold, and every game that's wagered writes another soul in gold. So wander not too closely and heed this solemn tale. The room that time forgot is a trap that will prevail. Its doors are always open, but they'll close before you see. And once you're at the table, there's no way to be free. The room that time forgot, where shadows linger still, a place of cursed memories, a house of iron will. The cards are always waiting, the bet's forever made, in the room that time forgot, where the devil's debts are paid. The table sat in silence, the air was cold and thin. The dealer tipped his hat and said, "Well, shall we begin?" I placed my final wager, my hands were trembling slow. His hand would seal the story of the path I'd come to know. The final ante, the stakes run high, a game with the devil where the damned all cry. No turning back, no second chance. The final ante's a deadly dance. The cards fell one by one, their faces burned my soul. The queen of hearts, the king of spades, the ace of blackest coal. The dealer's grin grew sharper, his eyes a blazing fire. He said, "The house is watching, boy, you'll pay for your desire." The final ante, the stakes run high, a game with the devil where the damned all cry. No turning back, no second chance. The final ante's a deadly dance. The room began to shudder, the lanterns burned so low. The faces of the fallen cried, "Don't let him take control." I gripped my cards with fury, my breath a shallow gasp, and in that moment I could feel eternity collapse. I laid my cards before him, the devil's face grew pale, for in my hand the joker stood, a card that tells no tale. The dealer's laughter faltered, his power cracked in two, and with a roar the house collapsed, the game was finally through. The final ante, the stakes run high, a game with the devil where the damned all cry. The house is gone, the chains undone, the final ante is finally won. The ghosts began to scatter, their whispers turned to sighs. The poker room was nothing more than ashes in the sky. And though I walked away that night, the cards still haunt my dreams, for the devil's games are endless, and nothing's as it seems. There's a legend whispered softly, where the desert meets the sky, of a place where souls are gambled and the stakes are do or die. The devil runs the table, his grin both sharp and raw, and every hand he deals is known as the devil's draw. The devil's draw, the game of fate, where every card's a twist of hate. No man can win, no soul can flee. The devil's draw is eternity. He plays for what you treasure, for dreams you hold so dear. He tempts you with a winning hand, then turns it into fear. The cards you hold grow heavy, they cut you to the core. And every time you think you're done, he deals you 3 cards more. The devil's draw, the game of fate, where every card's a twist of hate. No man can win, no soul can flee. The devil's draw is eternity. The house is built on sorrow, its walls are made of bone. The players sit in silence, their stories left unknown. But when you take your seat there, you'll feel the devil's grin. For once you've played the devil's draw, you'll never leave again. The cards are always waiting, the deck is always full. The devil knows the hearts of men, he plays them like a fool. And though I broke his table, his grip will never fall. For somewhere in the shadows, he's preparing one more draw. The devil's draw, the game of fate, where every card's a twist of hate. No man can win, no soul can flee. The devil's draw is eternity. The devil's draw, the game of fate, where every card's a twist of hate. No man can win, no soul can flee. The devil's draw is eternity.